Hi, I'm David Martin with this Illinois Center for Broadcasting special report. Today I am glad to be with Denise Jones, the author of Who Said It Couldn't Be Done? A broader sense of just who you are. You're a woman now who has your master's in science. You've graduated from school here in the city of Chicago. And, you had this great story. And just if you could, elaborate on some of those points you mentioned in the book. You mentioned right from the beginning about your mother, Annie Mae, and the household that you were raised into. Please elaborate why you think specifically, people up and coming who are young adults can relate to your story. Because you also talk about, throughout the course of this book, about being a lesbian and how you said that was a choice.
Certainly. Well, once I moved in with my mother, to me, she was the mom that anyone would want to have. Grew up in Rockwell Garden and come to a house where it was beautiful, it was laid out, overflowing in food, getting some of the things that most children in the projects were not having. And one year, I went to North Dakota and stayed for 2 weeks, and when I returned home, she picked me up at Union Station. And when she came, she came with this big natural. It was a blonde natural, and she was dressed looking like a man. And I was like, who is this? What's really going on? And I leaned to my brother. I say, what happened? What's going on? And he was like, what are you talking about? So I guess by the process of easing in on him, he just accepted it over the 2 weeks. So in our household, I started seeing strange people, strange women, strange men. Every weekend she started having parties and orgies in the household where she had certain women that was there that was virgins. And to be initiated in their club, they had to give up their virginity. And so I started saying, okay, what's going on? I started sneaking out, just so I can hear all the noise and see all the noise that was going on in the front room. This one particular day, I can recall sneaking up behind her, and I observed this man having sex with this woman, and he was taking her virginity, and she was crying, she was bleeding, and that messed my mind up. That truly messed my mind up. That was one of the points when I said, I would never be with a man. I started to see men as pain. I started to see men as dogs. That was a turning point for me.
Well, let me speak exactly on that point for a moment. You are known very much in this community as a motivational speaker and someone who has spoken at a lot of events for youth groups. And on one particular point that you just touched on, you said that you witnessed men, doing some, really committing atrocities, if you would, to young women who were, really, naive and just very new to this world, very innocent young girls. You talk about specifically throughout your book how choosing a life of homosexuality was a choice. Could you elaborate specifically on that? Because that, as I want to touch on, as people clearly know this for our conversation, this is a very graphic book, and you do not shy away at all from any detail.
Well, certainly I was not born as a lesbian, I must say. I was born Denise Jones. If you look in the book, you'll see some of the beautiful baby pictures. Again, that lifestyle was not introduced to me until I moved in with my mom due to her bisexuality. And I was introduced to a woman who was maybe about 8 to 10 years older than I was. And I kind of found that lifestyle to come easy, and that was because I began to have a fear against men. And that was the path that I chose.
That's very interesting. Now, that happened to be a process during the 80s of what you went through with your young life. You also went through a process, obviously, when you're exposed to a lifestyle like this, where you began being involved in drugs. Just elaborate, if you would, for a few moments on what that was like and what that did really to your life at such an early age using drugs. You began using drugs at the age of 12, correct?
That's correct. David, sitting here thinking about all the questions that you're asking me and just traveling back in my mind how so many things happened to me, and I always wanted to be with my mother. So it was almost one of those things you would say would come natural because it was in our household every day. My mother was an IV drug user, and she brought me in the room one day and set me down and said, Denise, I want you to see this, and I'm allowing you to see this because I don't want you to be like me. I don't want you to follow in my footsteps. I want you to be different than I am. And because I didn't have my mother. The drugs had my mother, the women's had my mother, the streets had my mother. I longed for my mother. I wanted to be with my mother. So, you know, she sent me to get her dope packages, you know, go to the dope houses on 16th Street, you know, down on California and Madison. One day, my mind said, hey, take some of these drugs out of the bag and do what you saw your mother do. And that's exactly what I did. I shot my first bag of heroin at the age of 12. And we became friends. You know, she began to teach me how to steal. She began to teach me how to pimp. She began to teach me how to burglarize. So those things, it was just a part of life. It began to come, it was like I made a choice to do these things. It was natural because I had no one else that I can turn to give me any directions in my life.
That's a very interesting point that I wanted to touch on. You know, those are things that you did in your youth that are very much alive and well, and is even to an extent sensationalized in our culture today through the media and various other forms. It's very easy, I think, especially in an urban community, for anyone to relate to that. When did you reach a point, if you would, of understanding when you were partaking in that what you were doing wasn't right? Because I think that the clear point was that you hadn't been exposed to anything else. You were only exposed to what you knew in your environment. That's all that you knew. A newborn baby who's taught to hate or do anything else, or is taught only to love, that's only what they know. So if you could elaborate on a point when you thought, A, that's just the way life is supposed to be, or when you began to realize both that that's not what life is all about, or shouldn't be the life for me.
Well, David, you know, just as I was saying, you know, being in an environment and the things that were in the environment and no one was talking about it, you tend to think that that was a normal thing to do. So for me to be introduced to drugs, of course, falling out over the streets, ODing, of course, those are things that are not normal, but you adapt to the situation. Even laying with women, I chose to do that. I was not born like that. I made a decision once I was introduced to the woman, and she did some things to my body that felt good, and it was easing the pain that I was feeling from a man. But as I continued in that lifestyle, I began to cry. I began to say, what is wrong with me? Why am I like this? And the woman would say, well, what's wrong, baby? I would say, you know, I love you. I really don't want to lose you, you know. And I would just break out and just cry because I wanted to say, how did I get stuck like this? How did I get in this life? Who can get me out of this type of lifestyle? And you talking about pain, I was paining every day because I know that that was a choice that I made, but I couldn't get out.